Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace coming at you. We're going to make this a real brief, you know me though, real brief morning motivational moment. I'm going to share something with you this morning. I have a number of different things, a series of things that I want to share with you to help you in the process of making some changes in your life that will serve you well moving forward. As we move toward the new year, the thing that I'm reminded of, before I get to the point I want to make here, the thing I'm reminded of when we get close to the new year is all the New Year's resolutions that take place during the new year, all the different promises that people make to themselves, the resolves that are developed to change different situations, to go after a dream, to lose weight, to work on your marriage, all these different things that you place emphasis on at the beginning of the year. But one thing that social media has done for me as a business owner over the last, say, 6 years, is it has provided me with a wealth of customer intel. It's better known as CI, customer intelligence. Basically being able to understand how customers think, how customers operate, how to better target my particular customer base or target audience, how other people in the different fields that I operate in are performing, some of the things they're doing, and whether it's working or not. But one thing that I've learned in the last couple of years, if I've really watched people at the beginning of the year, and I make note of certain people that I see that have these high expectations and they have these things lined out, and I watch them and I see how long they're talking about what they're doing, and and how long it lasts. And then I also pay attention to their state of mind and their mindset as they start to close out the year. Two different state of minds. The beginning is hopeful. The beginning is filled with excitement. And then you move toward the end of the year and you see all of these posts of people who are worn, are tired. They're dealing with the hurt and the pain of regret and failure and a number of other things. And you're asking, okay, what happened between January and November and December? And a lot of things take place. Number one is misunderstanding. Number one is most New Year's resolutions are now made with almost an expectation that I might get it done, or you thinking. But the thing is, like I tell people all the time, if you want to achieve something, you have to be that person. You only get what you are. And if you're a person that's looking to be fit, and I use that because that's the biggest thing that's going to hit during the holidays. The first business I ever started was a personal fitness company. And probably 40% of my annual revenue was made in the first 3 months behind New Year's resolutions. And the most difficult challenge for me was to get people to stick to them. Because they didn't identify with what it took. See, the person who is physically fit, the person who is invested in being physical fit, has certain rituals that they do every day. I call them rituals because they are consistent and they're done in a pattern that you can almost set your watch by. And they take them in their minds. They're athletes, they're fit, they identify with being fit. So their behavior is conducive. See, one of the most powerful forces in the universe is the natural proclivity of humans to align their behavior with how they define themselves. Matter of fact, it's necessary to maintain sanity. In order to maintain sanity, your behavior must align with what you see, your self-image. How you see yourself, how you define yourself will dictate your behavior. If you're just talking about what you want, there's a difference in what you want and that thing you must have that you identify with. And while we get some of the things we want, we get all the things we must have, or all the things we identify with, because it's reflected in our behavior. It's reflected in our habits. And that's something that I'm really going to be trying to work with people on a collective level, and those who are willing to work with me on an individual level. I'm really going to be trying to work with you guys to help you develop a process. It's one reason, and I'm going to share this a little bit more with you in depth at another time, but there's a reason why myself and other people who do what I do will tell you all the time. You've got to become what you want. You are where you're at because of who you are. That's a reason for saying that. There's a part of the brain that begins right around the end of the spine, the beginning of the brainstem, that's called the reticular activating system. And basically, it does a number of functions, but neurologically, one of the things that it does is it identifies, it helps emphasize how you see things, how you recognize things. In other words, like when you begin to identify with, say, I'm a fitness fiend, or I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a great husband, I'm a great wife. When you start identifying with that and you speak it enough to yourself and you start to actually identify with it, it becomes a part of you. The things that are most important to you, you're feeding your subconscious with thoughts and with words that align with the importance of what that means to you. Well, your reticular activating system actually recognizes it, and it will begin to identify things that are conducive to you achieving what you say you are. So if you say you're an entrepreneur, when something pops up in the atmosphere, or it's on a screen, or you pass by a sign, or somebody's in the background talking about something that will help you achieve your next goal in being an entrepreneur, your reticular activating system will actually pick it up. So this is why I'm talking about the importance of really truly developing an identity of who you are and becoming that which you say you want, because you can't truly have anything consistently that you are not prepared, or you're not that person. So those are some things that I'm going to be working on the coming weeks. I'm excited about that. I'm trying to create programs and courses that are accessible by all. And so I'm excited about that. Real briefly, what I want to talk to you about this morning is a lesson that my mentor taught me a long time ago. I know a lot of you guys probably have seen a number of my videos, have seen my profile pictures, and you probably said, this dude never has a suit on. He's always got a cap or a scully on. You know, where's his professionalism, and a number of other different things. I get questions like that a lot. I mean, and here's my answer in short. When I first began to be mentored by a guy that I think a lot for as teaching me about business, and in a lot of ways he taught me a lot about life as well in the process. One of the things that he noticed in me, probably within the first month of just being around me and coaching me, is that I had a rebellious spirit. I was known as a renegade. I mean, long before I left high school, I was known as a renegade, and I didn't like doing things. Now, during this time, I had a number of suits in the closet. I had seen some success financially, so I had some suits in the closet because I knew a certain place I had to go, but that wasn't my thing. I didn't like that. I identified with being me, being comfortable, and I knew that it was that image is real important, and that people were going to judge me based on appearance before they ever really knew who I was. And, you know, my grandmother had drilled it into me. You've got to dress for success and all this and all that. And it's kind of funny that my grandfather never really did. He was an usher at church, so he always had a uniform on, so he wasn't wearing a suit to church. And there wasn't too many other places you saw him with a suit or shirt and tie on. And I just kind of developed my own mindset of who I was. And so I bucked the system every chance I got. I mean, that was who I was. But I remember him sitting down having this talk with me. And I'm going to have this talk with you because I'm going to tell you something. It's a simple principle, but it's real, and it's something that drives me still. He said, you don't like to wear a suit. You always want your hat on. You got your earrings in your ear. You got these tattoos. I mean, everything around you is counter professional business, but you want to be an operative in the business world. He says, here's your challenge. He says, it's not impossible, but let me explain something to you. If you want to operate and deal with people on your terms, here's the principle. He who has the goal makes the rules. You've got to have something so valuable that people know you have it and are willing to overlook the fact that you don't fit into their boxes that they've created. And because I used to always have to think, what does classy mean? You're not dressing classy. You're not dressing, what I say. Who determined what was professional? Who determined what was classy? Who determined how somebody should? And so there are these rules and all these regulations that everybody operates by without asking any questions as to why. Does it make me perform any better if I have a suit on, or if I got a t-shirt, a cap, some jeans, and some nice kicks on? Does it make me perform any better? Or is this something that just tells a person he's taking what he's doing seriously? Well, my thing is, I knew I had a disadvantage. He said, this is what you're going to have to do until you develop a reputation, and that reputation gets around that, hey, this is the guy that does this, and this is what he does, and he does it well. You're going to have a situation where people are going to judge you. And I decided I would rather be judged by being me and then overcoming the stereotype associated with guys who look like me. And I do it, I do it probably more than once. When I'm in those moments when I'm getting out of the house, with me having to have the medical emergency a couple of months ago, I haven't gotten out the house as much as I normally do. But getting in the house, when I'm normally out every day moving around and doing everything I do, I overcome this obstacle 2 or 3 times. While people say, why do that? Why not just drink? Because I'm going to be me. And what I've learned is I can be me when I produce. When you walk up and you start dealing with me, it doesn't take probably 2 sentences of communication before you realize you're not dealing with the guy you thought you were dealing with when you took a look at me. It doesn't take long for me to start to demand and command the attention of the people in my presence. I made that a point, that I was going to be so sharp that I could walk up and within less than 5 minutes change the mind of anybody that's standing there judging me. I stand on stages and speak to people in t-shirts and sneakers, or a button up and sneakers and a cap on. I do it because it's important to tell people out there that don't feel comfortable, that are not those kind of people that want. Steve Jobs never wore a suit. I've never seen him in one. And one of the greatest, most brilliant minds, and as far as business and finance is concerned, I mean, you look at Apple now. Look at the struggles Apple's going through right now. That's not an accident that when they forced him out initially, they started to struggle. They brought him back. They went back to the top. He died, and now they're struggling again. That's not an accident. The brilliance of the man showed in the production and the quality of the work, the innovative thought, and all of those things. So what he told me was, you want to keep your cap on, you want to keep your earrings on, you're not going to hide your tattoos. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you're going to have to be well equipped to overcome all of the objections to your appearance within the first couple of sentences. First, you're going to have to get the audience, and that's easily build up. Whether you call it a press kit, a media kit, build up something that shows who you are, what you're capable of. Have it where it presents you in the highest regard, in the highest light. Get that to them. So there's a number of ways. Make a phone call. On the phone, I'm going to command the attention of the person on the other line. That's what I do. So if I get you on the phone call, I'm going to get that audience with you. Now, when I walk in, you're looking like, who is this dude who walks in looking like this to a meeting with me? Well, by the time I finish, you're not going to be feeling that uppity that you're feeling right now, because you're going to realize you were probably in a room that was with a dude that can hold his own with you at the very least. And now I've convinced you that what you thought you didn't have, I have it. And now you want it. Now you're going to pay this dude that you were looking down on to get it. And I've done it my entire life. I get the goal in the areas I want to operate. Then I show the goal. I keep my own identity. I'm good with where I'm at. This is who I am. I clean up well. when I have to. Anybody that saw me at my daughter's debutante ball, I clean up well when I have to. And see, that's the value. Wifey can get me in a suit. My kids can get me in a suit. And there are some other things that can get me. Other than that, I'm going to operate in the area that I'm most comfortable. I'm not going to allow people to pull me out of my comfort zone in that area. Now, if it's something that I see that I really I have to go get, and it's beyond me getting it any other way, then I'll determine whether I'm willing to make a compromise. There are times in life where you compromise, but as a general rule, I'm going to be me. You're going to get me. And the thing is, what I've learned is I've sat in boardrooms with CEOs. I've made deals at board tables with a button up on, a New York Yankee cap on, and my sneaks on, because I've developed a brand that says this guy delivers. And what happens is I've actually seen situations where in dealing with some of my clients, when I got them, they were tight vested, nice shirt, nice tie, nice suit. And by the time we got into maybe 3 to 4, 6 months, they show up, they got a polo on. They may still have polo, khaki, and shoes on, but the suit is gone. What I'm doing is I'm giving them permission to not be so uptight. They feel that they have to align with this perception of what classy and professional is. And then they start to understand, well, hell, this dude is doing it, I mean, in the other extreme. Now, I'm not getting up going out trying to be tacky. I'm being who I am. I'm going to put on something that I feel comfortable in. And I have a long range where I can stay within myself and dress. It's not always a t-shirt and jeans. Sometimes it's something a little bit more dressed up, and it's based on how I'm feeling at the moment. But what I'm not doing is conforming to someone else's idea of what something is. I've determined where I'm going to operate and function. And you know, the people that come into my circle are people who want to deal with me, all the way down from my now wife sitting up. They have to understand, this is who this dude is. He's not going to change. If I'm going to be a part of his circle, if I'm going to be a part of his life, I'm going to have to be aware and okay with him being this way. Now, we're not going to the company annual ball or Christmas ball with a t-shirt on. I'm not going to do that to my peeps. But what I'm saying is every day I operate in my realm, my idea of what's right for me. I don't allow people to dictate to it. Now, again, the way that I'm able to do that is I'm actually setting the rules of engagement. How am I setting the rules of the engagement? I got the goal. Now, the goal isn't necessarily money. The goal is that thing that's so valuable that people look beyond what they see you in and recognize that you have it. So you have to develop an idea of who you want to be, what area you want to operate in, what area you want to dominate. When you go into it, people start to recognize. One area that I dominate is I have the capacity to read people. And I can get deals done. I have sat down in situations where there were two parties that couldn't get a deal done. I close deals. I close my deals. I close other people's deals. That's something that I've always been able to do, because number one, I can read things. I can read that. I can walk into a situation and see there's a standstill or there's a standoff and realize that no amount of money is going to fix it. It's not about money. A person is about to a person's company is about to be acquired by a larger company, and that person is feeling some kind of way about giving up his baby, something he started from scratch and built. He's also feeling some kind of way about giving up control of that company, and you've got to find a way to deal with that. So what we do, we want to sit down right now and come up with a way to keep him involved in the actual decision making for a certain amount of months, years, or whatever. And we give him the idea that he still has access to his baby, and he's still going to be a part of this decision making process. And that's far more than any amount of money to a man who built something from scratch. And so we get deals done. But anyway, that's just one way that I have goal. I'm able to come in and make things happen. I'm also a person that is highly creative and when it comes to conceptualization. So people come and they bring their ideas to me and I put their ideas on steroids. In other words, you come to me and say, I want to start this company, I want to do this. By the time the conversation over, even though I haven't even come close to doing what I'm going to do over the course of our business relationship, you're going to leave already having your concept put on steroids with things that you never even thought about. If you don't believe me, go to the power team, the people who are in the power team, the group I created for those who want to have access to me and actually get some things going and go into the new year on a winning note. Ask them if they've come to me with their own dreams and their own visions and their own concepts, what I've done with them. And that's just something, that's another way I have the goal. And it's a number of different ways that when I come to the table, I'm coming to the table with something that you need. Otherwise, I have no business in there. I'm coming and I'm making myself valuable to the person that's there. And I tell you the same thing I was told. Find that thing you want to do. Find yourself. Find out what you identify with. And I'm not dogging anybody who wants to wear suits. Be what you're comfortable in. Be what you identify. I'm just a person that looks at things. And number one is, if it's European, if it's got a concept in suits or a European concept, I bucked it. And before I even really got into deep of where I'm at of understanding, I bucked. That's just me. At the same time, I know what to get and go get it. I understand that I'm still operating in a world that Europeans dominate. So I have to deal with them. Matter of fact, 95% of all of my revenue comes from non-blacks. I understand that. But at the same point in time, I have been in situations where I was told, hey, you're going to have to calm down on some of the rhetoric you're doing on some of your personal social media pages because we are aware of it and eventually some of our clients may become aware of it and we don't want that to happen. And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. If you have to walk away, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to change who I am to make you comfortable. I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to provide you with a certain level of quality. I'm going to provide you with a certain level of consistency. You're going to know what you're going to get from me when you bring me the project. You're going to know before it's ever delivered what you're going to get. Now, if that's not enough for you, then I'm not the person for you. You're not going to dictate how I function, how I move. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to be who I am by the convictions that I feel within inside of myself. If that makes you uncomfortable, then I'm not the person to work with. And that's the way I am. I'm never going to allow the fact that this is where my revenue is coming from control my behavior. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be the man that I am. And that's all I'm trying to get across to you guys is be who you are. Develop an identity of who you are, because you're only going to become who you are. If you spend a lot of time trying to be something that you're not, it's not authentic. You never really truly fulfill, and you never really optimize your potential. If you're functioning within a scope of what you think people want you to be, you're never going to fully be the person that you can be. You're never going to really live at the level of your design. Your design is indicative of your purpose, and your purpose is the course and the pathway and the blueprint that will lead you to your destiny. I want you to be you, not me, not people on the other extreme. Be you, whatever that is, wherever you fit into this thing, be you. But be so good at being you that people who have a problem with the presentation of you has to overlook it, has to let it go, has to set it to the side, and they still have to deal with you. And one thing I can tell you about dealing with non-blacks is that when you bring in the product, when you're producing something worth having, they don't care. They don't care about a lot of stuff that they care about when you're not producing. When the way they want you to dress at work is not the way they're demanding that I dress. And it's simply because I went and got the gold. When I come to them, before I ever approach them, I'm going to make sure that what I have is so valuable that they're going to look beyond what they see when I walk in the room. You know, if I'm sitting at the table at Starbucks, people will come up to me because the setup that I have when I'm working at Starbucks is normally going to be at least 2 computers set up. I'm going to have a lot of stuff going on, and that doesn't match the look. So people will come up and just start talking to me because they're trying to figure out, what is this dude doing? And you know, and within a matter of minutes, they'll come and tell me, man, I had no idea. And it's just simply me. And I love that too. I love it because People look at our young men and they automatically begin to judge them. We are who we are. The dreadlocks, the tattoos, the jeans and the t-shirts, and they just automatically make assumptions because we don't fit into their cultural paradigm of class and dress. That we don't have a mind, that we are not intelligent, that we don't have a command of the world around us, and that's not the case. And so I like being that sort of iconoclast that is a natural natural rejection of stereotypes. When you start dealing with me, you're gonna have to admit it, whether you want to or not. I'm not what you perceived me to be before I spoke, and I love it. And and so what I'm trying to get over to you this morning is simple. We're really gonna get into some things in the coming days, moving up to New Year's. We're gonna get into some things, but this is what I want to relay to you today. Get the goal. He who has the goal makes the rules. If you are spending your time always under the rules and principles and laws and regulation of someone else, it's because you haven't gotten the goal. When you get the gold, you start to be able to make rules. You determine how people will engage you, what people will wear. You can have an event where it's a no suit event. I mean, it's amazing how you can change things when you have the goal. You can sit up and say, hey, to your clients, hey, I'm going to meet you to show the house, and it's a so-and-so casual day. Make sure you wear your shorts. I mean, it's amazing when you're doing something at a level so well that nobody else is doing it that level. You'd be surprised at what you can control and how you can change the entire way that you engage people. Be the best you can be. Try to be the best, not because of your ego or because you're trying to outdo somebody, but just try to be the best. When you place that kind of expectation on yourself, that kind of standard on yourself, you're putting yourself in a position to be in rare air. And that's where the amazing things in life happen. And so I want to encourage you with that. I'm going to get out of here. I got some more things to do, but I'm going to be back later with some more things. There's a lot of things we've got to talk about going into the new year, both as individuals and as a collective. So I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day.